Hi everyone, this is Bijan, and today I'm going to be doing my first car review, my own 2002 Volvo S60. So without further ado, let's hop in and go for a spin. Now if you don't know, Volvos are known to be pretty much practical, normal, everyday, daily driving cars, as well as being the safest cars out there. But they've never been known to be sporty cars. That's why I have this baby, the 2002 Volvo S60. So if you don't know, the Volvo S60, when it was released in 2001, was Volvo's answer to making this car being their sports car of the Volvo family. The purpose of the Volvo S60, you may ask? Well, it was to compete with BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and even Lexus. The Volvo S60 has a 2.3-liter inline-5 with a turbo. The output is 247 horsepower and 243 pound-feet of torque. This car gets them going from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, which is pretty normal. When the car first came out in 2001, its original MSRP was $35,000. When I got the car in 2014, the car just cost $8,000, which was a pretty sweet deal. This is pretty much like considered almost like a car you would just like cruise around or go off into back roads. But it's not really that sporty, and I understand Volvo was trying to make this car sporty, but it didn't really do that well for sporty pretensions. But eventually they released the S60 R, and that all they did was just add an extra liter to make it 2.4 liter inline 5 with just the same turbo probably, and the car just goes, it has a much increase in horsepower, different pound-feet of torque, but it's like you're just getting the same car. I've heard that from a lot of people, that this car, that S60R, is the same way as driving this one. The transmission in this car is a 5-speed automatic with a manual mode. There is the option to get a 5-speed manual, though that you can get just the basic 5-speed manual, or you can get a 5-speed manual with overdrive. And there's a couple problems with the manual transmission. One, its design is probably the weirdest manual transmission I have ever seen. For starters, it's like this weird, I just don't know how to explain it, but it's like, to make it in terms you'll understand, is that it looks like the automatic transmission, except with like silver plastic around like halfway of like the shifter, and it has like this flat plastic surface. No gator, it's not even gator stitch, so it's this flat plastic surface, and in between it is all your gears, as well as your reverse gear. The second part about the manual transmission is that it's also not as fast as the automatic. Surprisingly, the automatic is way faster than the manual transmissions. For the regular 5-speed manual, it's 168 horsepower, and for the manual with overdrive, it's 197 horsepower. So it's like the best of both worlds, with MPG and also speed, because that's like the best manual transmission option you can go for in terms of better horsepower and good fuel consumption. And really, it's like pretty much saying that the automatic is better than the manual, which in a way it's kind of saying it is. But I mean, after all, with the manual though, you're getting an increase in the MPG. Now, I should say this, is that the MPG on this car is 20 city, 27 highway, and you're looking at an average of 23 combined. And that's pretty good for a car like this. Now, going back with the manual, is that with the manual with overdrive, you also get like an increase in both the city and highway. So you pretty much just get one MPG increase in the city and another increase in the highway. So it's not really that much, and personally for me, I wouldn't really take the manual transmission. I'm pretty happy with this automatic, and I already have a manual mode I can just kick over to. If you just want involved driving and good fuel consumption, then get the manual. The interesting thing about the manual transmission is that most Volvo enthusiasts call it the space ball, which I just think is pretty much what you would call it anyway. It just looks like some ball in the middle of the shifter. And what I've also heard about the manual transmission is I've heard that it's too bulky and the clutch is too laggy. In other words, it's like sticky. I mean, I don't know, that's just what I've heard, but it's just more of a reason why I'd rather stick with the automatic than the manual. Now, let's go test out how fast this car is on a pretty narrow open road for just a little bit. Alright, looks good. Whoa, you get a nice roar from that inline 5, and thanks to that turbo, it really does help things keep going. The turbo though is a little bit slow on the low RPM, but once you really get really high in the RPM, the car really starts to get a lot of power. In short, I think that the Volvo S60 is practically one of the best sedans out there in terms of decent performance, great fuel economy, and also just a fun car just to drive around. I was very disappointed though that the car did not exceed to Volvo's expectations, excuse me, because they wanted to make this a sports car, but it seemed to have not really worked out. But I do think that with the new Volvo S60 Polestar that's out, I think that Volvo's wish to making the S60 one of their fastest sports sedan in the Volvo lineup has actually been a wish come true. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please browse the channel and please subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.